morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Blue and Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Blue Sports Report. Without you guys and you ladies, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business and let's wake up those football gods on this Taco Tuesday. That's right, it's Taco Tuesday, isn't it? Man, we sit here 16 days, 10 hours, 3 minutes, and 25 seconds away from the draft. I literally cannot wait. I mean, seriously, I can't wait. I am so sick and tired of draft talk, of mock drafts and scenarios and everything else. Literally, we've heard month after month after month of mock drafts. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be 100% real with you. I'm not that big mock draft guy. I'm not that fantasy football guy. I deal in reality, okay? Sure, fantasy football is great, you know, it's if you like that sort of thing, but to me, it's just one of those things that how can I root for players on the Eagles team? And for some reason, my man Sal kept putting Eagle players on my team. I just, Miles Sanders and Zach Ertz and everything else. It's like, man, I don't want that Eagle stank. I can't root for them to do anything. I just can't. And same with mock drafts. We started doing mock drafts from after the Super Bowl. And they put out, I guess if you put out 100 mock drafts, you can turn around and point to one of them. Oh, over here, I was right about this one. Oh, on this one, I was right about this guy. They're really meaningless because there's too many variables, okay? I love math, okay? But when you think of the variables of how everything changes, and everything literally changes by one team making a move. The Jets getting rid of Sam Darnold, throw all your mock drafts away. 49ers moving up to third spot, change your, there we go, let's start over again. It's just too much to determine. I can guarantee you that there's nobody out there that gets more than maybe 30% right. If you get 30% right, you're a freaking genius. And that's one of the reasons why I just don't have the time and the energy to spend doing mock drafts. So this morning, I'm going through, as I get up this morning, I check all the wires, and everything's kind of quiet right now. The only news we had was Jerry Jones, of course, talked to Kyle Pitts. I think that's more of baffle them with bullshit because, you don't really want people to know what you really have as intentions. You want it to be a surprise so that way maybe you can get a better deal. But you also want to do your due diligence in case something happens and for whatever reason Kyle Pitts falls, you want to at least know something about him. So you talk to a lot of guys that you won't have a chance to get, but you do. So this morning, I see Mel Kiper, 2-round mock draft, sees the Cowboys trade back and nab a cornerback and a defensive end. Okay. So I clicked on it to see what's Mel talking about. The Dallas Cowboys are on the clock. Well, not yet, but the NFL draft is certainly barreling towards reality. With just over 2 weeks remaining, things are coming into focus for the league and the club, and for the club specifically. Over the weekend, Cowboys Wire went through a few exercises, including a trade-back mock where the Dallas found a willing partner in New England and then 2 more teams to secure an additional 2-day picks, and also looking at placing the team's need into an important group, which was an interesting thing because they had us trading back twice in the first round and picking up quite a few. I think we ended up with, by their scenario, 6 top 100 picks. It's great to talk about, but the reality is it's not going to happen. On Tuesday, Mel Kiper, Inside Access, borrows a page from those strategies in the latest 2-round mock draft. In it, he has the Cowboys trading out of the number 10 pick and selecting a top cornerback in the first round. We've talked about that too. The bounty given up by the Patriots in this one has the eye on the future. Then the second round, they ended up getting, excuse me, choking on Mel Kiper, ended up getting a defensive end. Now, for me, I had kind of said something similar to that, but instead of a defensive end, I said take your 2 number 2s and trade back in and try and get Christian Baltimore. I believe that getting a cornerback and getting a one technique guy and getting the best one that's in the draft would do dividends for this team. That's my thing. But as I was going through all this and things, and a lot of people get excited, well, Mel Kiper's got us getting this guy, and people go crazy. Oh my God, we're getting it's not real. It's not real. And some of the guys that they pick, they don't actually come out and happen. Because I want to bring this on up to a lot of you guys. Mel Kiper. Mel Kiper never played football on any level. Mel Kiper, since the 80s, has been deemed the football draft guru. I don't know why. Don't know why. But let's listen to a little bit of this to give you a little bit of background. Because for me, a lot of these guys are like, back in the day, snake oil salesmen. They packaged up some liquor and they said, this is an elixir that's going to fix everything you got.
Kiper Jr. watches more football than just about any human being on the planet. But when you spend your career evaluating 1,000 players every year, you're going to screw the pooch on a few of them. Or in his case, a lot. Kiper has been appearing on ESPN's annual NFL draft coverage since 1984. He has no football experience at any level, professional or amateur, but there he is, making guesses every year. Here is every team's draft pick that Mel Kiper was wrong about.
Oh, no,
Arizona Cardinals with Andre Wadsworth.
Oh.
The All-American defensive end was Kiper's #1 pick before the 1998 draft, thinking he might be the next Bruce Smith, aka the Buffalo Bills legend and the NFL's all-time sack leader. Wadsworth, drafted 3rd overall, played just 3 seasons before he was axed and ended with a measly career total of 8 sacks. Atlanta Falcons with Julio Jones. Kiper is quoted as labeling Jones's catching skills as inconsistent, which is kind of funny since he became one of the best receivers in the NFL. Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson. Kiper was torn to shreds in the 2018 offseason for making it his mission to discredit the QB skills of Jackson and saying he should convert to wide receiver. He completely contradicted himself on live television by using Jackson's low completion percentage as a knock against him, and then saying completion percentage doesn't matter when he was hyping up Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Confused?
Okay.
Same. Buffalo Bills with Adam Stoyer. In 1997, Kiper stated in an interview with Chris Mortensen that offensive lineman Adam Stoyer was a future Hall of Famer. Well, Stoyer fell to pick 169 and would go on to lead a bleak 2-year career and was eventually cut. Carolina Panthers with Cam Newton. Newton went into the 2011 draft combines with an array of doubters behind him, including Kiper, who called him a one-year wonder. Who's laughing now? Chicago Bears with Caleb Haney. Kiper held an obsessive stance that Haney was being slept on in the 2008 NFL draft.
Yeah.
But after the Bears signed Haney as an undrafted free agent, it seemed more like his career was asleep, as his 6-season stint was unmemorable to say the least. Cincinnati Bengals with Akili Smith. In the 1999 NFL draft, the year in which 5 quarterbacks were drafted in the first round, Smith was the 3rd quarterback and 3rd player selected overall. Kiper was ecstatic and said, Akili Smith will be a great NFL player and would be the passer they'd lacked since Boomer Esiason. Unfortunately for Kiper, Smith went an abysmal 3-14 as an NFL starter and was axed after 4 seasons. Cleveland Browns with Baker Mayfield. Mayfield was the #1 overall pick in the 2018 NFL draft, shocking Kiper, who preferred Wyoming's Josh Allen. After the selection, Kiper questioned Mayfield's speed and doubted if he could play a full season in the NFL. Well, he did, and he finished the 2019 season with 3,827 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, and 21 interceptions. Dallas Cowboys with Dak Prescott.
Here we go.
Kiper had Prescott as #5 in his top picks of QBs going into the 2015 season. Yeah, that Prescott. The one who saved the Dallas Cowboys and won Rookie of the Year. Shame on you, Kiper. Denver Broncos with Jay Cutler. Now, the hate Kiper has for this QB is wild.
Well,
in 2000,
that's enough on the Mel Kiper hating situation. But this is, I bring this up because so many people are going hog wild. And when I was talking about, we were doing our phone in, Zoom in draft day, practice, and we're going to do some more of those because I need to get my shit together on making sure everything works on it. When we were talking about players, we got people that'll go through and they'll say, "Oh, well, this guy's got that problem and things, and why would you want to get him because he did this and he didn't do that, and he wasn't good against the run or he wasn't good against this." It's like, wait a minute. I understand, what you see as potential in the draft, with the player from what they did in college. But the reality is a lot of it ends up being meaningless. More times than not, the guys with the high pedigree, and maybe it's because they've always been the guy. They've always been at the best schools, the biggest schools with the best playmakers around them, that a lot of times it's the guys that nobody saw coming that end up being the ones that end up being great. And I would especially say that in quarterback because very few people thought that Dak Prescott would be the best quarterback in his class. Everybody focused on Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, or even Paxton Lynch. Everybody thought, about Dak. The same thing about Tony Romo. Everybody passed on him. He's an undrafted free agent. Sometimes when you are the guy who is not the guy, you have to work harder to get scraps. And those are things that start you on the path of hard work. And you have to understand, to get there, you not only have to work hard, you have to continue to work hard. And I think that a lot of these guys that have had that success, it's all just supposed to come natural. And they get there now where they're not the big fish in the little pond. They're just another fish in the ocean that they wilt from the competition. So who knows what the hell's going to happen come draft day? We can probably surmise that the first 3 picks will be quarterbacks. From that point on, who knows? Maybe Atlanta ends up taking Kyle Pitts. Maybe New England trades down to 4 and takes another quarterback. Who knows? Nobody does. That's why we will kick back, we'll relax, pour ourselves a shot of rum, and we'll watch what goes down and see what happens. And then we'll deal with the ramifications of the players that we get. Now, for me, the scenario of possibility of trading back, increasing more, for me and my thing, one of the problems for the Dallas Cowboys has been over the years is we always find 6, 7, 8 Pro Bowl players on our roster. We do that. We end up having more Pro Bowlers on our roster than anybody else. We end up spending more money, top heavy, paying those guys and saying we can't live without those guys. And in some instance, we're right. We can't live without those guys. But then we get an injury to a Dez Bryant, or we get an injury to a Tyron Smith. And we go from these great Pro Bowl players to guys that are barely Pro football caliber guys. And we drop off in ability so much that we can't compete. It's not about having 6 or 7 great players. It's about having about 25 or 30 really good players. So when you lose one of those top guys, you're not going from Tyron Smith to Chaz Green. And this, I think, has been the Cowboys' philosophy that has been wrong. I believe the best thing is get yourself a good cornerback. Maybe he's not the best one in the draft, but if I can get me a really good cornerback and I can get me an outstanding defensive lineman, those 2 players are going to be better than the best cornerback. Just me. But everybody's got their own take. Everybody's got their own mock draft. Everybody's got their own philosophy. But I do know this much. The Dallas Cowboys have not been to the Super Bowl in a long time. And 2 places that the Cowboys have always just kind of gone, meh. It's been safety and a one-technique guy. We've tried everything else. Why don't we focus in and see if that makes a difference? All right. I appreciate everybody here this morning. Lola is getting a Super Bowl trophy, and Thomas Garrett is getting our first Dallas Cowboy color ones. Those are going to be out today, and I got to get my ass back up here working on some more of these things. These things are going out like hotcakes, literally like hotcakes. And so we have to continue getting those on. And I think later on today, the mini Joe Barty trophies, the 14-inch ones. I know it looks the same size as that one, but it's not. It's actually a lot smaller when you put them side by side. You can't see it right there because I've got the bucket. They're a lot smaller than the big ones. I'm Mark Holmes, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is